Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster around one of Formula One's best tracks, COTA. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comments section, or my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. So here's the setup I run in Texas. Feel free to pause the video and screenshot this if you want to try out this setup on your own. This setup prioritizes front-end responsiveness while ensuring rear stability when exiting corners. As a disclaimer, this setup is a general baseline for you to start with and applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with this setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. The first corner of Sector 1 follows this super famous uphill braking zone. When going up the hill, stick all the way to the right side of the track in order to extend your turn-in angle. There aren't many good reference points for braking here, but a decent one is this electronic flag sign on the right. You want to brake as soon as you reach this point. This is a very hard braking zone, so focus on hitting 100% brake pressure here before slowly bleeding off the brake and rotating into the corner. It's a bit of a blind turn in here, but you should start turning in pretty soon after your initial braking. This is a very sharp corner and requires more steering angle than you think, so aim to keep it as tight as you possibly can to the apex here. Once approaching the apex and rolling off the brake a little bit more, start consistently increasing the gas. It can be easy to spin or run wide on exit here, so make sure your throttle and steering inputs are working in unison. Once widen out to the right, get more aggressive on the power. You can use some of this exit curb, but I try to avoid it. Down the hill now and at full throttle, sway to the left for a wide turn-in and then keep it tight to the apex on the right. This curb is flat, so I like to ride my right wheels on it. Off the curb now, let the car take a flowing line towards the middle of the track before slightly pulling back to the right in order to set up nicely for the S's. All 3 of these next corners are taken flat out with as much curb as possible. These curbs are completely flat, so try to cut as much as you can without going over track limits. As the longer right-hander approaches, you'll find yourself on the inside curb as it begins. From here, continue straight in order to widen out off the curb, and you want a very slight tap of the brakes and a single downshift. During this slight tap of the brakes, keep at least 50% throttle. You don't have a risk of spinning here, and braking is purely to get the car rotated around the corner, so keeping throttle is fine. Aim to have the car pulled back into the corner by the time you reach the sign overhead, and from here, pull back to the curb on the right. Once close to the right, immediately turn into the corner, and again, you want a slight tap of the brakes while maintaining throttle. This is a very aggressive turn-in, and you want to cut as much of this inside curb as possible. Once off the curb, you'll find yourself in the middle of the track. From here, pull back towards the left in order to get a good entry into the next corner. I prefer to brake early for this corner as it gives you a better line and more stable exit, so I brake right when the wheels have gone straight after exiting the last corner. This is only about 50% brake pressure and a couple downshifts, as this corner is tight but has a very forgiving exit. Once braking and turning in, aim to keep close to this inside curb. As soon as you're at the apex, get more aggressive on the power and cut your steering to the left now, aiming to cut this inside curb as much as possible. Once off the curb, pin the throttle down and cut the next curb on the left as well. Finally, keep right and prepare for the next corner. So that's a look at Sector 1, now let's see it at full speed. Into this corner, watch for the meter boards on the right. You want to brake at about the 75 meter mark, so between the 100 and the 50 meter boards. Keep all the way to the right side of the track under braking, and start to turn in just a hair after the 50 meter board. It's very important to keep your eyes focused on the apex of the corner here, as this turn-in is much sharper than it looks. Bleed off the brake and turn in, increasing your steering angle as you turn. Once at the apex, start to widen out to the right and put the power down. You can use this curb on the right for a bit of runoff, however, it can slow down your acceleration just a little bit. Now, enable DRS and head down the long straight, keeping to the right side of the track. The next corner is a downhill braking zone, so keep an eye out for the meter boards on the right side of the track. Here, you want to brake right between the 150 and the 100 meter boards, so at about 125 meters. This is a super hard jam of the brakes. Definitely make sure you hit 100% brake pressure. Stick to the right curb, and as you reach the 50-meter board, turn into the corner. Again, this is a very sharp corner, so keep your eyes focused on the apex and try to take some of the inside curb. Once on the curb, start consistently increasing the power and sway out to the right side of the track using a bit of this curb on exit. Now prepare for the next corner. That's a run through of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Approaching the next corner, you should be all the way to the left side of the track. Once you reach about the halfway point of this curb on the left, or when you're directly facing this last tent on the left, brake. This is a harder braking zone than it looks, so keep that in mind. As you're braking, turn into the corner. Since you have to brake while you turn, make sure not to hit 100% brake pressure because it will lead to a lockup. Instead, ride the brakes at about 50% for a little bit longer, aiming to take this inside curb. Once on the curb, start giving it a little bit of gas, but not too much. It's very easy to spin here since it's a low-speed corner. By the time you reach this curb on the left, you should be at about 50% throttle. From here, increase the throttle cautiously and keep rotating into the right. Keep a straight line as you round the corner, so you should be close to where this curb butts out on the left. Sway towards the right side of the track now and watch for these tire marks on the track. You want to hard jam with the brakes as you reach these and to start turning in immediately. As you're braking and turning into the corner, start slowly giving it a little bit of gas. Too much could lead to a spin or missing the apex, so keep it at a minimum. As you approach the apex, turn in tighter and aim to get as close as you can to this inside curb. Once widening out, you can use some of this curb on the right and start putting the power down. Again, it can be easy to spin on exit here, so make sure not to spike the throttle. Pull towards the left now and prepare for this long, sweeping right. This corner is a lot of fun. On the left, pull into the corner, but stay towards the middle of the track. This first apex on the right is not the one you want to hit. After you pass it, let the car ride in the middle, and soon the next apex will approach, and this is the one you want to hit. After passing this one, let the car naturally continue through the following corners, keeping the straightest line you can. For a hot lap, you can keep closer to the right side of the track, but for races, doing that will result in higher tire wear. Once approaching the next corner, stick to the right side of the track. Here, you want to brake right as you reach this electronic flag sign on the right. I only use about 30% brake pressure here and keep some throttle through the corner as well. Aim to cut this inside curb as much as possible. This is a pretty aggressive corner. Once at the apex, get back to full power and use the exit curb on the right. For the last corner now, there aren't many clear reference points for braking, so it's easier to just watch the apex and brake accordingly. This is a decently heavy braking zone, so braking a little bit too early or a little bit too late won't necessarily kill your lap. For this corner, try to take some of the inside curb, and of course widen out to the right on exit. Now enable DRS and head towards the finish line. That's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now let's take a look at a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of COTA broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you want to see more track guides on F124, have any questions, or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or on my Discord. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.